Hey, Fanboy Nation.
This is your pal Daffy Duck, and you're watching.
We're watching
You're watching Fanboy.
Fanboy,
fanboy, etc.
Fanboy Nation.
God, I assume Tom.
This man I am speaking with today lives the dream. I'm always jealous and envious, yet I always leave our conversations excited. Brian Volk-Weiss, how are you today?
I'm good, man. How you doing? Thanks for the kind words.
Hey, I'm all right.
Don't be jealous, though. Don't be jealous.
Dude, I'm talking to you, so how bad could I be? Let's be honest.
But flattery will get you everywhere. That's what my dad used to say.
Well, you have the hit series, The Toys That Made Us. You're taking us all over the place back to the second season now on Amazon Prime, a toy store near you. This time it's a different situation because a lot of the toy stores and comic book stores and everything else are deemed non-essential, but people are trying to stay afloat. How much more heart-wrenching was season 2 in comparison to season 1?
Well, I'm gonna give you a couple answers, some of which are the questions you didn't even ask, but I need to do that to answer the question you did ask. So we basically shot 80% of the show at the same time, which is between, I would say, March and the end of June, early July. So that's all. So every episode in season 2 and beyond, most of it was shot over those 5 months. And then as we start editing them, we start shooting more to tell the story that we want to tell. But here's the question you didn't ask, which is pretty awesome. The stores are doing great. In fact, not only are they doing great, many of the stores actually a lot of them are having the best year in the history of their stores. And this took a long time for a lot of the store owners and us as producers to kind of have at least even a theory as to why it's doing so well. And basically the only thing we can come up with is, yes, obviously a lot of people have lost their jobs. A lot of people have taken pay cuts. A lot of people have been furloughed. But at least, I think, I'm not a mathematical expert, but I think at least 75% of the country that was employed before COVID, to a certain degree, is still employed. So, but those people can't go on vacation. Those people can't go to Disneyland. Those people can't go to fancy dinners or go out to bars 6 nights or 7 nights a week. So they got a lot of money in their pockets they normally don't have. And like I said, I mean, many, not like a few, but many of the stores that I know personally and also are in the series are having the best year in their history.
Man, that's fantastic. You know, especially like you said, you can't go drinking every night at the bar, but hey, one beer at a bar is like $12 to $15 depending where you live, where you can get the 6-pack for $12 to $15. So you're saving money that way. You know, again, exactly. Disneyland's like $1,000 trip for 2 people if you don't live in Southern California. So, you know, when you factor in that and the $1,000 that you can spend on these collectibles or new toys or whatever else, yeah, it makes sense. And especially with PS5 and the new Xbox coming out, it's going to be a whole new game changer.
Well, you got to have a kidney to sell to get one of those. So I don't know how many you have, but I've earmarked one to get mine.
Well, I figure by the time Gen 1 is distributed of those 2 gaming systems and everyone finally gets theirs, it'll be Gen 3, so they'll have all the bugs out.
God willing.
Yeah. Maybe. You know, we're looking at your office right now. You have this beautiful toy collector's dream sitting behind you. Of the stuff that's in the office and not in storage, let's just pick something from season 2 that's in the office. What was your favorite piece that you picked up?
So first of all, man, I take huge umbrage that you would accuse me of having stuff in storage. I have nothing in storage. First of all, I do that partially for myself because I'm not one of these people that just buys to buy or had, like, if I have it, it's in the collection. That's the first thing. Can I show you my favorite thing I got from season 2?
Absolutely. That's what we're
And I
looking
hope the other stores don't get offended, but I love this thing.
All right.
This is from the Bric-a-Brac in Chicago episode. This is the ET finger light. It came with a irreplaceable battery. It shakes. And if your finger was too small, you could trim it yourself. The instructions literally say to do that. And believe it or not, who made this? Knickerbocker Toys, this might surprise you, got into a lot of trouble for this. Some people thought it looked like another human appendage other than an alien finger. And it was taken off the market very quickly. So I always feel like I'm doing like the toy version of insider trading. But yeah, I literally be sitting in this chair, in this room, watching Rough Cuts and be like, hey, Steve, I noticed on the shelf you had is there any chance I could buy that? So I'm usually doing that at 6:30 in the morning while watching Rough Cuts.
Well, luckily it's 8:30 in the morning in Chicago, so you're all right with that one.
That's right. They weren't too bad. And they got a sale.
Well, that's great. And that's the original one from 1982 that they released, or is this a re-release for like an anniversary edition? Like how did it work?
That's the 82. That's the 82 version. You can tell because it has a price tag here. I can't read it exactly, but I think it says Toy Closet. And Toy Closet, if I'm right, that'd be long gone. I think that was gone before I went to college. So this is definitely the 82 version.
All right. So I have to ask you this question because I've never asked you this one before. When they do a quote unquote classic line and it's the same exact mold from the original toys, they did that with He-Man at one point. You know, it was Masters of the Universe Classic, but it was the same exact mold, looked exactly like, came with the same exact pieces as the 1983 originals. Does that devalue the He-Man toy of 1983 since it's virtually releasing it yet again, only with one new tagline on the toy box?
Oh, I thought this question was going in a different direction, so I lucked out. This is easy to answer. It makes the value of the originals go up because what the new releases do is, in addition to people my age, I'm 44, like, whoa, I can get, hey, this is great. I can get this, I can get that. But what it also does is the newer generations that may have never heard of He-Man at all, they may start to see it and they're like, what is this? And then they start to get enrolled into the mythology of He-Man. And then what's the question that starts to get in your mind? Oh, I wish I had an original Man-at-Arms. Oh, I wish I had an original Manny-Faces. And that's why it starts to go up. The most important variable for price is there's two variables. There's, you know, how many exist? You know, is there one? Is there a million? How many exist? And two, how many people are aware not just of that product, but also the scarcity of an individual item? So if 1 million people before the re-release were familiar with Skeletor, and then the re-release introduces He-Man to another 1 million people, and only 10% go crazy for He-Man, and of that, so that's 100 people, and then 10% of that is like, I gotta get the original. The more that happens, the more the prices go up.
See, I had never thought of it that way because I know a lot of sneakerheads. And I know people that, like, you know, it's the coveted Gen 1 Air Jordans that everyone's after that they'll spend like $30,000 on. And I'm like, Nike hasn't changed the design and has been continuously releasing, you know, Gen 1 Air Jordans. It's still 1985 shoe technology. You know, there's no extra cushions in there. There's no air pockets that came in like later editions of the shoes. So if I'm paying $120 for the same exact pair that hasn't been changed since 1985, why do I need the original at $25,000 that somebody else wore and stunk up and has athlete's foot in?
Human nature. Human nature. It's all about human nature, man. Like, dude, I just bought a USS Flag. You familiar with that lovely, lovely toy?
No, which one's that one?
Here's what you got to know about it. It's 7.5 feet long. It is the biggest production toy ever made. The only reason it even got made is because there was a massive miscommunication between the head of Boys Toys at Hasbro and the CEO. The CEO thought he was greenlighting a display for Toy Fair and didn't read the paperwork carefully. And he had actually signed off on making 10,000 copies of a 7.5 foot long aircraft carrier.
Wait, this is the aircraft carrier for the G.I. Joe playset for the giant jet fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
I had the jet fighter. I never had the aircraft carrier. I had no idea it was 7 feet tall or 7 feet long.
This will blow your mind. It is big enough to comfortably carry 5 Sky Strikers. The guy I bought it from sent me a picture of his son, who's 4'8", laying on it. And you can still see at least 40% of the deck. So, but the reason I bring it up is, like, on a lot of levels, man, I have no business buying one. Like, I don't have the room. It's not like, oh, I don't know. Like, I don't have the room. I don't have the room for it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But like I already told you, because I took umbrage. I love using that word. I took umbrage. I don't put anything in storage. So at some point, I'm building the Batwing from Lego. But as soon as that's done, yeah, I got to figure out where am I putting a 7.5 foot long toy. But again, going back to your point, I had to get it. Like, I just had to get it. Like, I'm a toy collector. That is one of the toys as a toy collector, psychologically, I need. But I don't need it. I mean, I absolutely don't need it whatsoever. But I got it. And that's the psychology of a collector.
One of these days, I'm going to meet your wife just to ask her how much she truly loves you, for the fact that last time we talked, she was a bit upset with the Millennium Falcon that you bought. And I can only imagine being in the house when a 7-foot toy in packaging would have to at least be 9 feet with all the foam around it.
It was 3. Are you on Instagram?
Yeah, I am.
Go on Instagram. I posted a picture of myself with the boxes last week. I mean, it's 3 gigantic boxes, and there actually is a 4th box on the way. But I mean, I'm very, well, 2 things about my wife. Number one, I'm in the garage now, so I'm not in the house now. So the rule is, as long as it's in the garage, she don't care. But the other thing is, my wife, I'm very blessed. She basically is like, you know, I got some friends, their husbands come home at 4 a.m. with the glitter on their face. My husband don't do that. So if he wants to be buying these stupid weird toys, like, by the way, forget about my wife. My 6-year-old daughter has made it clear she finds it very strange that I have so many toys. So we're literally developing a show now called Geek Intervention that was inspired by my good friend Mark Podolsky. When I posted that picture of me with all the boxes of the flag, was like, do you need an intervention, Brian? And maybe I do.
If you need a narrator, let me know. I'll make myself available.
Will do.
Yeah, I can only imagine your homeowner's insurance and the insurance for the toys and what it comes with the production company for everything that you have in your collection.
I mean, not to get into the weeds, but we have separate insurance and separate alarm system for the collection. So it's not even connected to the entire rest of my life. It's its own little thing.
Oh, man. Has there ever been a toy that you regretted purchasing as part of the collection? Because, there's something that you coveted for so long. Let's say, you're a couple of years older than me. So, we'll go back to the He-Man era of '83 when we were kids. The He-Man, the Transformers thing, you were so excited to finally purchase it as an adult. And then you're just like, really, I wanted this for 30 plus years?
First of all, I have to tell you, man, no one has ever asked me that before. That's a great question, and I can only think of one answer. And I probably shouldn't even be saying this, but so as I mentioned before, you know, I had an office in my house, and then I moved to the garage and set up my collection in the garage. I have over 2,000 toys. About only 15, actually less than that, about 10 toys didn't make it from the old office to the garage. Almost all of those were the characters from The Force Awakens. And the reason for it is, and you know, again, I know this will piss off a lot of people, but and I've never seen this happen before. And if I had to guess, I'll never see it again. The Last Jedi, to me, destroyed these characters. So Rey was one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars after Force Awakens. Last Jedi, it's not, I'm not just going to sit here and say it's a bad movie. And yes, it's a bad movie in my opinion, but it like Star Trek V is bad. It didn't destroy Captain Kirk. It didn't destroy Spock. Like in Star Trek VI, they were great again. Everything was fine. But something about The Last Jedi destroyed my love of Rey, Poe, and Finn. So before I moved rooms, I had like 5 or 6 Reys, 3 or 4 Finns, and I think 2 Poes. And I literally only brought one example of each into this garage. And the rest, actually, I guess I lied to you, man. I should not have taken umbrage with you. I apologize. Those are in storage. So I do have those in storage. That is true.
All right. Well, you and I are in full agreement on the Last Jedi and what it did to the Star Wars franchise. So, you know, I'm more than happy to agree with you on that. In one of the episodes, and we see it in the trailer for season 2, one of the toy stores has, I think, the 6 remaining toys in existence or presumed to be in existence of the Last Starfighter. When something like that happens, does the original toy manufacturer end up contacting the toy store to try and either replicate them for an anniversary edition later? Or what happens with the movie company that put out The Last Starfighter in trying to put this in their own version of their studio's homegrown Smithsonian Museum?
Again, great question. I've never been asked that before. So those are prototypes. So they never went into production. So nobody owns them. And also the company that made them also is long out of business. So those are literally like kit bashed figures. Like if you look at them carefully, you'll see like they're Star Wars figure. The bodies are Star Wars. The heads are custom made from clay. But yeah, they never went into production. But I'd love for someone to contact me, but no, that has never happened.
And to put that on another spin, you know, who has contacted you about your own personal collection in trying to buy from you the way you've gone shopping in other stores?
Well, it's really funny. Two things I've bought that I get asked about all the time. One is since 2003, maybe not 2003, probably 2006, my second favorite character in all of Star Wars is Ahsoka Tano. So I got a lot of Ahsoka Tano prototypes over the years. Now that Ahsoka Tano is in The Mandalorian, like the cool thing about collectors is everybody watches everybody's back and helps everybody out. So people are now saying, hey, are there any Ahsoka Tano prototypes out there? People are like, oh, Brian has some. So I'm getting lots of, hey, any interest in selling, da-da-da-da-da. And then the other thing is what we're doing right now, is this going to be audio or audio and video?
We're going to do both. We're going to run both.
Great. Then hold on.
All right.
This is the other thing. I am so proud of this. I was in a thrift store in Burbank and saw this on a shelf.
Really?
You understand the implication?
Yes.
So, and I just remember looking at it, walking away, and I'm walking around the store being like, wait a minute. There was no Star Trek 7. So it was $8. I bought it for $8. Found nothing online. Luckily for me, I got a couple Star Trek expert friends. And basically, internally at Paramount, there was a department trying to get the rest of Paramount excited about another Star Trek movie. So that department made 50 mugs and 100 towels. And I guarantee you, because I know how these things work, of those 50 mugs, minimum 25 were thrown out or destroyed. So at the most, I bet you there's 25 left. So I get offers at least once a week about this mug. And I've had it probably 2.5, 3 years now.
Wow. All right.
And they're offering way more than $8.
I figured as much. All right. This is what we got to do. We're going to put you in contact with the guys that do the Star Trek convention so you can put it in a little glass case and then charge people to take photos with the mug at the convention.
I'll make a killing.
Oh, you definitely will. You know, have you seen the documentary Trekkies? The guy that ran up on stage to drink the Q virus just because he had a cold, so now he had the cold or whatever it was?
Yes. I've seen Trekkies 1 and Trekkies 2.
Trekkies 2 made me want to go to Brazil. I was just like, wow, that looks like a fun convention in Brazil.
I think that should be that country's motto. Everything's fun in Brazil.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to touch on one thing regarding The Last Jedi. Kelly Marie Tran, who played Rose Tico, did not deserve 1/10 of the amount of hate she got for that movie. It was everybody else's fault but hers.
First of all, I completely agree. Second of all, like, it's like people, like, she's an actress. She's an up and coming actress. And I would suggest before she booked the role, she was a struggling actress. So it's very hard to be an actor. Like, and I don't mean like when you're on like, it's hard getting jobs. So you take what you can get. And that part, like, I don't hate the woman who played the part. I hate the part because the whole war could have ended and she just had to give Poe a kiss or Finn a kiss. And then the war had to go on another 10 years. Like, so that's not her fault, the actress. But yeah, but I definitely agree with you.
Well, I thought she had the best performance in the movie. I just didn't like the movie. And I think she's a great actress, and it's not fair to her that she got that hate. So we want to correct that. We might not like the movie, but Kelly Marie Tran, we like you. So that's the important thing.
Without a doubt. Without it. By the way, how soon into the movie were you like, uh-oh?
As soon as Luke threw the lightsaber over his shoulder.
Oh, yeah, I got there way before you, man. I was sitting there about 45 seconds in, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure there's never going to be anything called a slow speed space bomber. Like, watching these slow like, why? I understand you would have bombers for planets, but you would not send bombers to get a capital ship. So that's literally when I was like, oh, we in a lot of trouble.
So you were there a lot sooner than I was, but as soon as...
And by the way, it was worse than I even thought it would be at that moment. But anyway.
Good. I'm not the only one that's going to get hate mail for this, so I'm thrilled with that.
People really, when they like that movie, boy, do they like it.
Right.
And I just want to say for the record, if anyone likes the movie, I respect your opinion. Please respect mine.
Yeah, that's all we can ask. Someone got mad at me for saying that and, you know, actually wanted to fight me, and I just started laughing at him.
Yeah, that'd be a very silly fight.
Well, it would be because he also doesn't know me or my background, and you know, I used to wrestle and judo and everything else, so it's kind of funny when people want to do stuff.
Then I really admire you, because I'd be beaten up by anybody. So that's that's a big reason why I don't fight.
Right.
But if I had your background, I'd be like, yeah, come on, man, pick a parking lot.
Man,
Let's
I'm
go.
too old and my knees can't handle it. So,
Fair enough.
I got fat because of injuries, not because I got lazy and just ate too much. I'm just happy I can still walk.
Get an Apple Watch, man. It's life-changing.
Oh, man. With everything that's going on in this world, and we're getting a second season of a toy store near you, and I'm glad that the second half was done mostly by July, at least 80% of it. When you go back and do reshoots, or when you go back and revisit things, what is it like for them and their level of excitement when they see you come in and go, hey, we got another sale from Brian? Or is it like, oh, thank you, we really love the fact that you featured our show?
It's a really great question. Everybody so far they're just so, it's so funny. I take it for granted because I do it every day, but like almost all of these store owners have never been on television. So like at 12:01 in the morning on Christmas Day, they're all going to be on Amazon. They're all going to be on Pluto. They're all going to be on Tubi. Like they're going to be everywhere. So I think they're very excited about that. And I think that the exposure it's bringing them, because I've spoken to some owners and they're absolutely getting business. Like people are coming in like, I saw you. By the way, my favorite thing is, from what I've been hearing from the owners, many people come in and they're like, I saw your store on the toys that made us. And they're like, I think you got the wrong series. But so it's working. So they're thrilled. There was one store and it wasn't their fault. It was our fault. It was my fault. We just had to keep shooting more and more and more just because I wasn't happy with this stuff and how it was working. And I called them to apologize. I'm like, listen, you're going to kill me. I need one more thing. And they're like, kill you? We've never had so much fun. So they've been wonderful. And God willing, the money will start coming in a meaningful way, either when they need it or you never don't need money, but it will hopefully help contribute to their bottom line in a meaningful way soon.
I have to ask this. So your daughter is now 13 years old.
No.
7 years into the future. We're going into the future.
I got you.
So your daughter is now 17 years old. She needs braces, and you have to sell one toy that will pay for all of them. Which one in the collection do you get rid of to get your daughter braces?
Again, I've never been asked that. That's a brilliant question. And is the question like, what toy is worth braces financially? Or like, is it like 7 where I got to figure out the pound of flesh to give without killing myself?
It's the pound of flesh without killing yourself.
It's tough. I got it. I have a mint on card Death Star droid from Star Wars. I got it very randomly a long time ago, and I don't care about that character whatsoever. And it could definitely probably get braces for all 3 of my kids. So that would be it. That would be it.
All right. So you slightly cheated there, but we're going to let you get away with that one.
Whoa, how'd I cheat?
Because it wasn't something that you loved so much, but still didn't cost a pound of flesh. Like, it was like braces or the toy, and, the one that you had to vacillate over a little bit. Not one that it's like, this will pay for it and the hell with it.
Of the 2,000 plus things in here, that's the only thing here that could pay for braces. And yeah, it's like, basically I bought it because it was cool and it was a great price because the guy selling it didn't know what he had. I think when I bought it, it was worth about $250. And I think I got it people who know what this is worth are going to cry when they hear this. I think I got it for $35. So even like 15 years ago, I could have sold it the next day and made a 3x profit. But now it's worth a lot more than $500. So, but I'm not passionate about that character.
Gotcha. All right. So the Toys That Made Us, a toy store near you. You know, when these shows come out, and you know, like the toy store in Huntington Beach that you did over here down the street from my house, you know, they got their recognition. All the other toy stores, San Francisco Super 7 is getting their recognition, Batcave, so on and so forth. When Kokomo, you know, Kokomo, Indiana, please tell me that you got the licensing rights to the Beach Boys song just for like a little bit of a clip it, or like a Muzak version, you know, elevator music version that you could play in there along with the store featured.
Well, here's what's funny. According to the law, I could have used up to 7 seconds of the song and put it in the episode for free. It's called fair use. That is my #1 least favorite song in the history of music. And that is why it's not in the episode.
I would not have expected that to be your least favorite song in the history of music.
If you saw my iPod, you would be very surprised that a 44-year-old straight white guy, that's the music he chose to listen to. It is my wife. We've been together 11, almost 12 years. She is still finds my music taste extremely strange.
When you put it on shuffle, I get it. You go from Testament to Christina Aguilera within 2 songs.
I'd say even Christina Aguilera is too edgy for me. I'm like, I'm like Britney Spears, Lady Gaga, Kesha. I said it. So I couldn't tell you why this is what I like, but it's what I like.
Hey, enjoy what you enjoy, man. You're putting out shows for toy collectors and featuring toy stores and reminding everybody why we loved playing with the toys we did when we were kids. So I can't fault you for it.
By the way, the rest of this interview, no one's going to be paying attention because they're going to keep saying to themselves, did he just say he likes Kesha?
Probably, you never know, but hey, it's all right. Yeah. That's your next TikTok video, is her song TikTok.
I should do that. That'd be a huge crowd pleaser.
With everything going on that, you know, we've seen in this world, the world's fallen apart, but you're still allowing us to be hopeful. What would you tell somebody that's now getting into collecting or hasn't collected in a while that wants to try to recapture aspects of their childhood? You know, like, would you say go big or go home, or would you tell them to start small and, you know, start with reprints of the old Army men that came in the bucket and then work their way up to, say, Optimus Prime from Gen 1 of Transformers?
Well, the thing I would say to anybody who asked that question is start with and stick to your heart. You got to follow your heart. Don't follow profit. Don't follow prices. Don't follow what other people are doing. Then you end up with a room of plastic that means nothing. And honestly, if you're not following your heart, you're probably not going to be making much money as an investment, just statistically speaking. But the next thing I would say is, I mean, it depends with what kind of money they got. You know, if you don't have a lot of money, start small. If you have tons of money and you don't worry about money and you do care about this as an investment, yeah. And this is true for anything. I mean, if you're collecting Picassos, if you're collecting rare Porsches from the 1930s, it's the same rule. Always start at the top. Because if you buy a painting for 50 grand, you're lucky if it's worth 100 grand. If you buy a painting for 20 million, almost guaranteed in 10 years, it'll be worth at least 35 million. So that's just a safe rule. But I will tell you this. I have a lot of pieces that are pretty valuable and have appreciated quite a bit. Not a single thing have I bought as an investment. Not one. And the other thing I'll also tell, and you could either view this as good news or bad news, you know, my collection is about 20 years old, 22 years old. If I took the top 5 things of value and said, hey, I would not have predicted 20 years later those would have been the most valuable. And dude, I buy stuff all the time where I don't understand why it's not more expensive. So it's my way of, and sometimes I see prices and I'm like, why is it that much? Like, you just don't know. You just have to get all the facts. So once you understand the facts, then you can be a more accurate buyer. But if you're just starting out, there's entry points at every single level.
I dig it, man. It makes sense. Last season, I asked you, what was your favorite toy store of season 1? So I have to ask you, what's your favorite toy store of season 2?
I'm just curious. Did I answer that question?
You were a little wishy-washy about it, but you eventually came clean.
Really? Huh. Because I would have said I evaded that. Well, here's the problem. I haven't been to Kokomo. And Kokomo is literally on my bucket list. Like, I want to go to Egypt. I want to go to Iran. I want to go to, like, Brazil. I've never been to Brazil. Like, I need to go to Kokomo. So, and I'm definitely evading your question. I don't want to hide behind that. I am evading your question. But I haven't been to all of them. So, yeah. So that being said, I'm gonna dodge that.
You're gonna dodge that. All right. Well, I'll tell you this much: with my father being from Iran and you wanting to go to Iran, congratulations. You want to go far more than I do at this point.
Well, that's because you can go and I can't.
This is true.
That's also human nature. By the way, I also haven't been to Farpoint, so I'm dying to go there now too. So it's a harder question to answer. In my defense, despite my evasiveness, yeah, it's an easier question to dodge this time.
Okay, so with season 3, when we can finally gather, and we can finally travel again, it's going to be a toy store near you, the Brian Volk-Weiss tour. And we're going to be following you around to these toy stores that you can finally go to. Is that what you're telling me?
If there's any show I can guarantee you we will never make, is what you just described. Even being in the opening of every episode is weird and awkward to me. Everyone who sees it, they're like, dude, you did great. That's so great. And I'm like, I don't think you watched it. Like, I feel like I look very awkward. I don't mean my appearance, but yeah, it's, but yes, going around to stores and being like, tell us what this is like. Hell no, that's not me. We'll get Will Wheaton to do that.
All right, that's one thing. Since you've been now forced to the garage by your wife to turn that into your new home studio and home office, what happens when you outgrow the garage? Do you have to go buy 5 acres in Wyoming and move all the production out there?
No, but we will be buying a bigger house. I guarantee that. I mean, dude, there's a door over there. We're about to block that with shelves. So we're getting close to needing a bigger house.
You're almost to the fire hazard status.
Yeah. Oh no, we're jumping into that right now, and maybe that's my wife's plan all along. Like, fill the room, and then we need a bigger house. Oh, not a bad plan.
And then she surprises you with a 4th kid. We got a bigger house. Now we got another kid.
That would not be the end of the world.
Fantastic. Brian, I have to ask one last thing about a toy store near you, which is coming on Christmas Day to Amazon Prime. What should we look out for this season in comparison to last season that's going to sit us down and go, not only are we going to binge watch the entire thing, but now we really have to be excited about season 3? So
season 1 by design, and this was my decision, so anyone who hates it, blame me, was about 65% about the toys and 35%, is that the right math? Yeah. And 35% about how the stores were handling COVID. We got a lot of feedback that basically, if I could summarize it into one sentence, the gist of the feedback was, hey, you idiot, we're already really depressed about COVID. We would have liked to have seen a show about toys and not more crap about COVID. So season 2, I believe, is about 97% the toys and 3% COVID.
Okay, that's fair enough. And I'm sorry that you got called names, but you were trying to do something early on that would help people understand the situation. And we've come a far enough ways to understand how to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, listen, I make shows that I want to make for myself, but I don't do that to the point where I'm making the show only for me, if that makes sense. Like, I want the show to be popular. I chose this career because I wanted, it's one of these great jobs where you get to touch people in a meaningful way. So I don't want to make something they're turning off. I don't want to make something they hate. I don't want to make something that's supposed to make them smile and it makes them frown. I just don't. So what we did with season 2 was I took what I loved about the show, which inspired me to make it. But then we also listened to the audience. And listen, I don't mind talking about toys. Like, twist my arm. Like, that's fine. So it was fine. I was happy to do it. And a lot of people hate social media. I love it because, we just had a new season of Movies That Made Us come out last week. And we got some really great feedback, which is wonderful because we're in post-production on 10 episodes right now. So I was able to take some feedback from the most recent episodes and we can apply it to the next 10. So like Sam Raimi said once after he booked Spider-Man the first time, he was like, I'm making Spider-Man. I'm not making Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. And that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm trying to make a show that I like, but I want it to be for everybody.
I dig it, man. All right, so you brought up Spider-Man, and we just got word about Spider-Man. Alfred Molina is returning as Dr. Octopus. What's your favorite Spider-Man toy that you have?
I don't think I have a single Spider-Man toy.
All right, well, there goes that tie-in.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, that's about to change. I watched Disney Plus's 616 series, and there's an episode about Japanese Spider-Man. Guess who's now obsessed with Japanese Spider-Man?
I don't blame you.
So,
that licensing deal was just crazy, and then all of a sudden, it was nothing like the comic. But I wish they'd incorporate it into the multiverse version that they're going to do, or the Spider-Verse.
I guarantee you they will. I guarantee you they will. Like, guarantee you. But yeah, I'm not into Spider-Man, and to be completely honest with you, I'm not a huge comic book guy. I am obsessed with Batman. I have three gigantic shelves over there with Batman, 2 for figures, 1 for vehicles. So I love Batman. But outside of Batman, I'm not a huge comic book character guy. And yeah, Spider-Man, I never got into. But Japanese Spider-Man, I have signed up.
All right. We're looking for the 4K, what's it called? 4K remastered edition of Japanese Spider-Man to come home to us one day here in the United States.
I would love that.
And maybe we can get it with like bad 1970s style dubbing where you hear the Japanese underneath the English dubbing.
It's so funny you mentioned that. I love when they do that. It's so funny. It's so cheap. Like, it's so great.
Yeah. Hey, it'd be great for all of us. I think it'd be a lot of fun that way, especially it'd be set perfectly in that time frame.
Well, did you see the 616 episode?
No, I didn't get to that episode yet.
Well, at the end of the episode, they show the last shot of the cartoon of the series, and the guy who played Spider-Man remembered his last line, And while he says the last line, the actor, you know, he's in his 60s or 70s now, he starts crying, remembering the line. I'm obsessed now to know what the hell the character was, what he was talking about in the episode.
And what would have made it even more powerful is if they didn't translate it at all.
Well, they kind of didn't, because I don't know. Well, no, I know what the words were,
Right.
but you don't know what the scene is, because it's like a scene of Spider-Man watching the sunrise at the ocean. Mm-hmm. And he says this very kind of powerful thing, but you don't know what it relates to. So I'm dying to know what it relates to.
Wow. Okay. Then let's see if we can get some copies out here. And you got contacts at Disney. You're over in the Valley. Just hit them up and go, hey, you know, let's see if we can get that deal going for the 4K remaster.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice if it worked like that?
Right. Wishful thinking, you know.
But I like it.
Brian, where can we find you on social media if we want to connect with you? So we could also see this giant flagship of yours that the previous owner's child laid upon.
I'm on Brian Volk-Weiss on Instagram or whatever. It's just my name. And then Facebook. I'm technically on Twitter, but I haven't actually gone on Twitter in probably 3 years. So, but I'm still out there. Whenever people hate something I make, they always tag me on Twitter. So that's how I know my account still works. But yeah, Instagram or Facebook, primarily Instagram.
Perfect. Oh, and since people are going to wonder, and I'm wondering, how heavy is that aircraft carrier from G.I. Joe?
Dude, it's still in the box. Like, I don't know. Because, like I said, I got to get this Batwing built, my Lego Batwing, because I have a whole table in here where it's being built. Then that's going to go, and then I get to build the flag. And like I said, I'm still missing one of the boxes. So, but I don't think it's that heavy. I think the main problem with the flag is it's modular. So, like, you can't pick it up. So, like, you have to build it, and that's where it stays. Okay. I think.
Well, we'll find out. Keep us posted on all of that.
I will. Daily updates.
All right. Daily updates on Instagram from Brian Volk-Weiss. Here we go. A Toy Store Near You Season 3 comes out Christmas Day, December 25th on Amazon Prime. Good sir, it is always a pleasure to chat with you about toys, kids' braces, and whatever else we can come up with to try to see what we can get you to do to part with your toy collection in order to make your family happy.
And not to split hairs, but I don't know if it matters to anybody, but it is Season 2.
I thought I didn't say that.
You said 3. Season 3 is coming out next year.
Listen, but wishful thinking on my part, because we're going to come back for Season 3 and talk about that again.
I love it. Thank you in advance.
All right. And thank you so much. Happy holidays to you. Hopefully I'll be able to see you at, maybe we'll end up at Comic-Con 2021, but I'm thinking more likely 2022.
No, it's got to be next year, man. It's got to be. Positive thinking.
All right. So at the very least, I will see you in San Diego, and hopefully sooner with the 405 freeway being closed in these next 3 weeks of this closure.
God willing.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me back.
Got it.